Silver trading at an all-time high price range, exploring right next to historical recovered mining of 1,500 grams silver to the ton. A powerful and compelling combination. Hi, George Sanders, President, Gold Cliff Resource Corporation. Happy New Year. We are very excited about prospects for 2026, and we're particularly excited about getting after the trenching and drilling at the Ainsworth high-grade silver project near Ainsworth, BC, just south of the village of Caslow. This video is being prepared in conjunction with our recent news release, where we describe all of the work done to date at the Ainsworth Silver Project and identify the trenching and drilling targets for further detailed exploration in 2026. And rather than repeating the narrative of that news release, what we thought we would do is present for you visual context of that narrative. When we're working in the field, we're working with highly technical and layered maps. And we also use those maps for reporting purposes, for example, in assessment reports and later on in 43-101 reports. And while those maps are easily interpreted by experienced geoscience and technical people, they can be a bit confusing and overwhelming for the layperson. So I've asked our team to simplify the data presentation and to de-layer it so that we can present it for you in a manner, hopefully, that is easy to digest and also hopefully communicates our excitement for these targets. So let's get into the maps. Now, the first map we're going to put up, obviously, is a location map. Any of you following the company or have seen our earlier videos will be familiar with the location, but there's a couple of things on this map that I want to highlight. The first of which is we have included grid lines, and these are the sampling grid of the last 2 years, 2024 season and 2025. And it's along these lines where geophysical measurements were taken and where geochemical samples were retrieved. So it's pretty obvious from the extent of the lines that the prospective corridor has been highly covered, and it has been covered in considerable detail. So the targets that are emerging, yes, they're interpretations, but they're not guess interpretations. They are based on an awful lot of data that's been accumulated over the past couple of field seasons. The second thing is you're going to see coming onto this map a camera icon. Hopefully we get it facing in the southeast direction. And that is the location of where I was standing when I shot a video at Ainsworth just this past September. And we provide in the description below a link to that video. And we want to give you a visual context of what's appearing on the map. So a couple things that jump out at you. Obviously, it's a beautiful part of the world. Secondly is we're obviously filming in a cut block. And we're filming more or less in the direction we're sort of facing southeast. Actually, the #1 main haulage drift is more due south, and the workings are behind my shoulder in the background underneath that cut block. When we're on the property and we're not in a cut block, the area is heavily forested. And I think it's important to point out that what we're looking for here at Ainsworth is not obvious new material. this country has been extensively prospected since the late 1800s, and any surface showing has either been turned into a little mine or it has been discarded for being of insufficient size and grade. So anything new remaining to be found is going to be found at depth. Our initial work, hopefully it's at shallow depth, but I think this clip clearly demonstrates that there's not a lot of outcrop here, and so to expect high-grade surface samples, other than the ones we've reported in the past, is not likely. So let's move to the next map, which is highlighting our geophysical surveys. In 2021, we ran an airborne geophysical survey, and some of the areas that jumped out at us from that work, we then followed up with detailed ground geophysics in 2024 and 2025. Modern literature on the district, not just Ainsworth, but this whole part of the Kootenay district, including the famous Bluebell mine on the east side of Kootenay Lake, has and is telling us that the ore control is not just the folding of the host limestone, but indeed of equal, and they are arguing of more importance, are the structural components, particularly cross-faulting and shear zones. And so our ground geophysics was focused on trying to establish where there might be signatures of additional possible shear zones. Now you'll see on the map 2 known shear zones. Those are highlighted in yellow, and we know those are there from the underground maps and underground descriptions from both the No.1 and the Dellie mine. The other projections are anomalous areas geophysically, and a number of those we believe to be high value targets. Okay, we're going to now show you a separate map of the geochemical sampling results. And this map has been greatly simplified. We're only showing you the results of things that are above background. So from low, medium to highly anomalous. We're showing soils, we're showing some rocks. As I said, there's not a lot of outcrop. And we are showing what we call LDS sampling, which doesn't take place on grid because it's following water pathways. And I want to talk just briefly about that. It is a known sampling methodology. The methodology for it was actually perfected in British Columbia, and it helps deal with the geochemical problem of that results from glaciation, trying to derive sort of what might be coming from underlying bedrock. LDS stands for lithic or rock drainage sediment sampling. Now, we're going to show you a brief clip shot in 2024 with company director Sam Zastanikovic. Sam is a 50-year plus experienced geochemist. He's one of the foremost geochemists in the province of British Columbia, and we use LDS sampling on any project that we're on because it has yielded a lot of success for us. So here's a clip from 2 years ago with Sam talking about the utility of this methodology.
The soil in glaciated terrain, all of BC, sits on almost invariably on glaciated cover material, and therefore represents what it's sitting on, which is not related usually to the local bedrock underneath. Yeah. This device instead collects sediment from a larger area, which, if it includes a geochemically anomalous results, will show up in that single sample as compared to perhaps 20, 30 soil samples.
Okay, so there we go. Location map, extensive grid lines, geophysics, geochemistry, and that together with some interpretive geologic work that we've done has highlighted these areas for initial exploration. And so what you will see with the red lines, this is where we propose our first trenches, and subject to not seeing nothing, the little blue circles are where our initial drill holes would test for deeper, not yet discovered, near surface, high grade silver mineralization. We have submitted to the ministry a 5-year notice of work plan. That submission has been in place for quite a while now. To date, we've received no negative feedback on that. However, we want to be very clear that in the province right now, permitting of simple trenching and drill programs is taking some time, and that time mostly is beyond the control of the applicant. So we believe we've presented a very thorough notice of work. It is in process, but honestly, it is a hurry up and wait scenario until we do receive approval, after which we can put in place the required bonding and we can get right at the trenching component immediately thereafter. So, very excited for 2026. As I record this today, the Canadian dollar price of silver is just under $100 to the ounce. The recovered grade at the #1 mine was just under 50 ounces to the ton. You can all do the math. At these metal prices and historic grades, our targets are extremely high value. So we're very excited to get shovels and drill bits into these targets in 2026. As usual, stay tuned.